Hey party people, today I am going to show you how to draft a pattern for Selvedge jeans. Okay, I'm going to show you how to adjust the overall pattern for the entire pant leg, and then I'm going to go over how to do a jeans pocket and a yoke. That these two elements are very specific to jeans. I would say almost all jeans have these two design elements. Okay, first of all, in terms of the pattern, what is the difference between regular jeans and Selvedge jeans? Okay, so Selvedge jeans are made out of Selvedge denim, and that means the Selvedge is woven so that the Selvedge is very neat, has a little decorative stripe. It doesn't have those frayed ends. Okay, like there's all these very technical differences between Selvedge denim and regular denim, but I don't want this to be a 2-hour video, so you can see when something is Selvedge denim cut into Selvedge jeans when you see someone fold up their pant leg and you see this beautifully neat finished Selvedge on the inside of their jeans. And when you look at such jeans on the inside, you can see that the Selvedge runs all along the length of the side seam or out seam, okay? Up until you get to the part where you're like overlocking the pocket bag and everything together, this is all the Selvedge. And Selvedge denim tends to be woven narrower because of the machinery and also so you can get more of this Selvedge, which means that even though this is clearly like a tapered leg fit, your side seam must be completely straight so that you can take advantage of the Selvedge. I'm going to show you how to do that. You're going to start with your jeans block. So I'm just using my pant block from my pattern making class on my Patreon. You should use a jeans fit that you like if you have a jeans block, or you can cut this, your pant block, into a muslin and adjust the fit to get the jeans fit that you want and make a block out of that to start, okay? This is a block with seam allowances. Slopers do not have seam allowance. Blocks have seam allowance. And this is how patterns are done in the industry. You start with a fit that works across the board for your brand. You create blocks. That's the standard fit for your brand. And then you do all these spin-off styles based off of your brand's fit, okay? So make your pant block. Now, this is my front, and this is my grain in the center. And at the widest part, right here at the hip, okay, this notch is 8 inches down. This is my low hip measurement. I drew a straight line parallel to my grain, okay? That's going to be my outseam. The Selvedge is going to sit here. I trace my block in red so that when I do my Selvedge pattern in pencil, you can see the difference. That's the cut edge. And then 1/2 inch in is going to be my sew line, which you don't have to draw in, you know. If you have a hard time visualizing, go ahead and draw it in, but you don't actually need it. When you trace out your block onto a piece of pattern paper, leave a little bit of extra on the bottom. Most commonly, people who wear Selvedge jeans, they fold up a little bit at the hem so they can show off the nice Selvedge in here to designate that they're wearing Selvedge denim. Okay, so this is the hem of my pant block, and I'm leaving a few inches down here for length. Now we're here, and I want you to, if this is the final width, I want you to shimmy it over here, okay? This here that I have notched on my block, okay, you can't really see it from the camera distance, but those are my knee notches. And at my knee, I've moved over to the side 1 1/16 inches. So I'm going to move over this line 1 1/16 inches so that the circumference of my knee stays the same. Now at the crotch, I'm going to do the same and make sure everything is lined up, everything is, you know, perfectly perpendicular to your grain. It's exactly 1/2 inch. So I'm going to come in 1/2 inch. So this is going to be my new, that's my new sew line, and that's my new out cut line, because this is my seam allowance. And I want you to plot some points along the way to retain the shape. And now you know why I told you to get your fit right before you transferred to Selvedge jeans, okay? Because you're going to take the fit that you like, you know, the circumferences being what they are, and shift them over. Here at my hem, I moved it over 1, 2, 2.5, 2 5/8. 2, 5/8. Okay, that's where that's gonna be. That's gonna be my hem. Okay, and you're gonna want to add 2-3 inches. Like 2 inches is 5 centimeters. I like a fat cuff. That's just my personal style. If that's your brand style, go ahead, add that extra inch. Okay, that's me personally. So 1, 2, 3 for me. And the hem for these things is just 1/2 inch fold, 1/2 inch fold. Okay, so you need 1 inch for your hem allowance. This bottom part I want to be straight because the fold up is going to be straight. Okay, it's going to be a little bit straight, and then it's going to start widening towards the thigh. But yeah, you just keep going. So go ahead and draw this out. And then I'm going to taper so that down here it's straight, okay, for that fold up. And there you go. That's my new cut line. That's my new inseam. And you're going to do exactly the same thing to the back. Here I have, again, I've traced out my back block, traced out my darts, because we do have to address the darts and the fit for the yoke and everything. And you're going to do exactly the same thing. The next part of moving from pant block to jeans is getting rid of your darts through your jeans pocket and your back yoke. Just for the purposes of this demonstration, I'm just going to cut off my pant leg so that I can work this without manipulating the paper so much. And then I could just tape it back together later. The first thing you want to do is determine your rise, okay? So if you want the very top edge of your jeans to hit natural waist, like my block, you still have to remove the width of your waistband. Otherwise, your waistband is going to go over where you wanted your waist to be, okay? And so just using the jeans I got in Japan, which inspired this video, as the example, this is 1.5 inches, yeah, the 1.5 inch waistband. So I'm going to, I like this sitting at natural waist, so I'm going to remove 1.5 inches from the top. Now, this notch was always 8 inches down from my waist, and so 8 minus 1.5 is 6.5, and so that's going to be my new edge. Okay, 6.5, and then 1/2 inch for seam allowance. And I'm just going to bring it across, and that's my sew line. And just sometimes I just like to X things out to remind us that we don't have to concern ourselves with that. So I have these two darts here, and they are significant enough that I can't just pretend that they never existed. Okay? And depending on your fit in your block, maybe you don't have front darts, maybe your darts are bigger than mine. I'm going to show you how to get rid of darts, how to reduce two darts into one, just to show you all the options for putting together your jeans pocket. Okay, so the first thing you're going to do is close your darts. And now you're going to decide where and how your jeans pocket is going to be shaped. Okay, I want my jeans pocket to start in between these two darts. Okay, and then going off of this as my sample, okay, let's see how low this goes down. This goes 3 inches down, and I like it, so that's what I'm gonna do. Okay. And I'm gonna go in here and go right in between my darts. And release that. Okay? So that's what that looks like. And this is gonna be your new dart. Okay? This is your new dart. I'm gonna take a little piece of paper, and we're gonna slide it underneath there and close that up. So you see on my new dart? That is going to help me figure out my new pocket. This is my pant leg, and I want my pocket to kind of look like that. Okay. You can use your curves to help you make the perfect curve. I am very close. Wow, look at that. Look at that. So this is my jeans pocket shape. And this is my hip shape. When you look at a pair of jeans, this is the pant leg with this cutout. This is a completely different pattern piece. Okay, see, it's attached to your pocket bag. That it gets sewn. Okay? And when you sew it, you end up closing the dart. Okay? You sew it like that. So you get that shaping back. But those are your pattern pieces now. And it's going to sit like that. Okay? So if you like the shape of your pocket now, go ahead and separate them. Now this is your pant leg. Okay? Front pant leg, cut 2. Okay? There are lots of tutorials for, fly patterns. It's easy. It's like always the same. Okay? And what you're going to do is you're going to slide a piece of paper in here, and you're going to add your seam allowance. You're going to add 1/4 inch. And you want the skinny little seam allowance because when you have a tight turn like this, you don't want a lot of bulky fabric. I want you to go ahead and pick up any pair of jeans, Selvedge or not, with this kind of curved pocket and feel in there for how much seam allowance is. And you're going to find it's really narrow, okay? That 1/4 inch, that little skinny seam allowance is specifically for collars, because especially those necklines that are really tight to your body, tight to your neck. and little curves like this. So you're going to add a quarter inch seam allowance here. Okay. You do not need to notch quarter inch seam allowances because it's too flimsy. Okay. If you notch just like this tiny little quarter of an inch away from the edge, how long do you think that's going to last with the before it just rips right off? Okay, so no need to notch that. Okay, with this kind of a tight turn, everyone knows it's a quarter of an inch. All right, and that's your pant leg. Let's go back here. Okay, and we are going to need some more paper. You're going to need enough for here and here. You're going to need some extra denim. Okay, when you sew this, you see how there's a little bit extra underneath. Okay, so that when you open your pocket a little bit, you're not seeing the pocket bag immediately. In any kind of pocket, you want to have a little bit extra when you open it because it just looks nicer. Okay, if you cut it right there, okay, with like sewing errors, little minor errors, human error, you know, you're going to see the pocket bag and no bueno. Okay, so I want to put at least ½ an inch over here. Okay, can be a little bit more, but at least ½ an inch over here and an inch down here. So remember, that's our curve. That's the bottom. That's our out seam. This part, you could do whatever you want. Okay, you can curve it if you think that's going to look pretty. You could angle it because that's actually the easiest to sew. But this, you do not need a seam allowance because basically this piece just gets appliqued right on top of your pocket bag. Like you'll overlock the edge and then you'll applique on top of your pocket bag, which I'll show you in a minute. This one, it is somewhat finished. It's turned, okay? It's folded under, but it's still appliqued on. Do you see the back? Okay, the denim is just stitched right on, okay? There's no like seam here like that, okay? So if you want to fold it under, then you can add a seam allowance. If you want to just overlock the edge like most jeans and applique on, no seam allowance. So whatever style you want to do, that's the look. And this is still your out seam. That's a straight line, so that's your grain. And that's your hip. We're going to true the waist. So I'm just going to go in here and true the waist. Line up those seams right there. I'm just going to use a bright color so you can see what's going on. And I am going to true this curve. It barely needs truing, but I like to make sure all my curves are looking nice. Okay. And then I'm going to take my tracing wheel and I'm going to trace that top edge, that trued edge, so that I have that little bit to draw. Okay. So I can finish that little bit. So it's going to be sewn like this. And it's going to be sewn like this. And you're like, Zoe, that doesn't lay down perfectly. No, it does not. Okay, when you stitch this edge, when you sew this edge to the pocket bag, you're going to steam it and tighten this curve. And I want to show you something, okay? And you could do this with any pair of new jeans. You know, I bought these jeans in Japan. I came back about a week ago. I've worn these jeans out of the house 3 times, so there's not a lot of stretching manipulation going on. These are new jeans. And even with new jeans, you will find if you lay this out perfectly flat as possible, okay, there's just like a little bit of gaping. Do you see how it doesn't lay perfect? Just like a tiny. Most people don't even notice it because it's so minor, okay? It's just there. So go check out on new jeans, okay? Your old jeans have been warped and manipulated and worn, okay? But you're gonna see this tiny sliver of a gap. That's just how jeans are drafted. All jeans, not just Selvedge jeans, okay? But I cut that out so you can see clearly, okay? So pretend this has a pant leg, or that these are booty shorts. Booty short Selvedge jeans, I like it, okay. And yeah, that's how it's gonna be sewn. So you have that shaping in there. Like this. And like this. Okay. Now we need a pocket bag, okay? So I have folded this sheet of paper. Okay, that's gonna be my grain. Lining pieces like your pocket bag are marked in green. And I have folded over a piece of paper big enough to be my pocket bag. And let's just lay it on here, okay? Do I want it like this? Okay, like this? Yeah, how about that? Oh, just the far reaches of my paper, but whatever. How deep of a pocket bag do we want? Okay. I like to stick my hand in it. So right around there. And so I'm going to mark that there. And what you need to do now, we're going to line this all up, and you're going to trace ever so lightly, squishing this paper, this curve. And you're going to cut this out because obviously you don't need pocket bag right there in the front. But you are going to add a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. And then what you want to do is take your tracing wheel and trace the top line of your waist. And so your pocket bag follows that shape. Put this notch here so all my hip notches match up. If you look at the inside of Selvedge jeans, okay, they go all the way up until you get to the pocket bag. And if you want to show more of the Selvedge, you scoop the pocket bag up a little bit higher so that you're not sewing all of this down. And so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to scoop it up to my notch. And I'm just going to honestly, you could do whatever shape you want. It's just a matter of, like, how much room you want for stuff. Like, I like to have room for a phone, so do keep that notch. So there's my pocket bag. We're going to cut this out. And you're going to take your hip piece, and you're going to sit it in here like that. And you're going to trace this for the other side of your pocket bag. So it goes in here like that. Your hip gets appliqued on here like that. And then like so. And that's your front. Let's do your back. Again, I only cut the pant leg off to maneuver on camera, okay? But this is my pant block with my darts. And as you know, jeans don't have darts. Jeans have yokes. Yokes is where all the shaping comes in. I'm going to show you how to draft this yoke, and I'm also going to show you how to do these flat fill seams without special machinery or foot attachments. Now remember, the first thing we got to do is cut off that 1.5 inches off the top where our waistband's going to sit. And now we need to draw in the shape for our yoke. And you have some liberties with this. Really kind of depends on what you want. You know, it's going to be lower in the middle, center back, and higher, okay? But I've seen all kinds. On this one, if we're using this one as our example, it's like 3/4 of an inch at the side seam and 2.5 inches in the middle. You could do that. This just seems really small on the side, but whatever. Okay. Whatever schmatevers, okay? So 3/4 of an inch here. There's our center back seam, and we're gonna go down 2.5 inches, and we're going to slice through that. Okay. And that's our yoke line, and we're gonna cut through. Remember, this is all old stuff. We're gonna cut these darts open and close them. And then we are going to put down here a big old honking piece of paper to add seam allowance and to true this curve. And I'm just going to true this curve because it's a little bit angular right now, but I'm going to try to keep the shape as close to what I had before as possible. Okay, so I'm just trimming these corners off. Okay, like that. And then also here, like barely doing anything except just truing those curves. And there's your yoke. Okay, yokes, the grain goes the opposite. This one was my grain before, so I'm going to go perpendicular. And that's going to be my new grain. You are typically going to have these little itty bitty bits of dart left. Okay? One thing you can do is just ignore them and ease them into your yoke. Okay? Like we do with armhole cap, shoulder caps on armholes, like we do on princess seams along the bust. Okay, just ease that in, especially since we've got like, I'm gonna say 3/8 of an inch combined. Okay, you can just ease all that into this curve when you sew it. Another thing you can do is to take a little bit of it out of the center back. Do one of these. Okay, just a little bit. But I would just ease it in. Before we can put in the seam allowance, we need to talk about fat-felled seams. Flat-felled seams, not fat-filled seams, not fat-filled seams. Although I ate a lot of fat-filled things in Japan. Okay. If you follow me on Patreon, then you know I am famous for my paper and staple sewing demos. Da, 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 da. So I have 2 pieces of paper here, okay? And I'm going to show you how to do a flat-filled seam without any special machinery or feet, okay? Right side and right side. One piece is going to have 1/2 inch seam allowance, and one piece is going to have a 1 inch seam allowance. And then on this side, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to sew just under 1/2 an inch, okay? Just like not quite 3/8 of an inch, okay? But just under 1/2 an inch. And you're going to just stitch one side, okay? It's just going to be a guideline. And you're just going to sew that. That's it. Okay? And then you're going to take this piece and you're going to put this on here. And you're going to put this piece of paper on just, do you see how the stitching is just outside this cut edge? Okay? And you're going to sew them together like that. Okay? So you sew them together, see? And that stitch line was a guideline, right side to right side, and then you open it, okay? And you press it, okay? Now in here, what we're gonna do is we're gonna fold this in. And remember when I said it had to be just a little bit narrower than 1/2 inch? Okay, if you did it right, and I'm drawing it on the other side, the stitches should be inside the fold, okay? Not on the fold, inside the fold, okay? That's the other side of your stitches. So, fold it in, open it up, and then you're gonna fold this down. And now those guideline stitches are hidden in here. Okay, those guideline stitches are hidden in here. And you don't see those guideline little. And then here's your face. And you're going to do your 2 rows of stitching. You know, edge stitch, just inside 1/8 inch. And then you're going to capture all them layers in here. And you're going to stitch and capture all these layers underneath. And you are going to have a darn near indestructible seam. Okay? So, in order to get this look, keep in mind the direction of the fold. This, and of most jeans I've seen, the fold goes up. It goes into the yoke like that. Okay? And so what that means is okay. See how this mimics that? Okay? This is the yoke and this is the pant leg. And when you open it up, you will see that the yoke, see, the yoke gets 1 inch seam allowance. Okay, so that's why we have all this paper here. In English class, that would have been foreshadowing. So we're going to add a whole 2.5 centimeters. And you can go ahead and notch this big old 1 inch seam allowance. If you also have a flat felled seam, I'm never going to get this right. Flat felled seam. Fat filled donuts and flat felled seams. That sounds like the beginning of a country western song. Okay, so we're in this direction, right? Because it's folding this way. Okay, going in this direction. So this side, my right pant leg is going to get the 1 inch seam allowance along the center back, along the crotch. And my left one is going to get 1/2 inch. And that's it. I mean, patch pockets, belt loops. Come on, you don't need me for that, right? Please do give this video a thumbs up if you learned something new today. Drop me your questions, comments, video requests below. And I will see you in the next video.